extraordinary this is, but you have made it 100 miles to freedom all by yourself. Would you like to pick a new name to mark your freedom?
Harriet Tubman.
Now that is a superhero name right there. Welcome, friends. Today is Juneteenth, June 19th, and also my mother's birthday. Happy birthday, Mama. Today is a day we celebrate two very amazing women, that being my mom, as well as the inspiration, the hero, that is Harriet Tubman, on a holiday to celebrate the end of slavery, which was delivered to happen on June 19th, 1865. Obviously, it took other states much longer to really put in effect, and let's be honest, it's still taking a lot of states even longer to figure out slavery is over. But that's why it is vital to talk about a film, a biopic of one of the world's greatest icons, leaders, and miracle workers today. From Focus Features, it is Harriet. Released in 2019, starring, the amazing Cynthia Erivo as Araminta Ross, or Minty, rather, who grows up in slavery in Dorchester County, Maryland. By the time she reaches 27, she escapes from her abusive and monstrous slave owners and does whatever she can connecting with the Underground Railroad to free not just her family, who are also enslaved, but to save the hundreds and thousands more. This surely was a biopic that has been in development for years and is one of those biopics that you're amazed that it hasn't been made at all in cinema. Better late than never, I suppose. And it's not like we didn't have an amazing array of black actresses to play the role, even since the beginning of cinema. I mean, with the exception of the great miniseries A Woman Called Moses with Cicely Tyson, made back in 1978. Alas, what needed to get this story off the ground, finally, was a script. There had to be a great script, and one that could come close to representing the power and challenge of Harriet Tubman's story. And that was Gregory Allen Howard's script, which he constructed in the 90s before he even wrote Remember the Titans and Ali. By the time it came to the humble year of 2015, the great Viola Davis was poised to star and produce Howard's screenplay, but wasn't able to get it off the ground. However, just a few years later, silent superhero herself, producer Deborah Martin Chase, officially brought it off the ground, having become a dear and major influence producer with Disney and Universal, and being a phenomenal Broadway producer herself, with producing Tony Award-winning productions A Strange Loop, the recent revival of Top Dog Underdog, The Outsiders musical, and more. Chase brought on Cynthia Erivo, who was riding high from her Tony Award-winning performance in The Color Purple on Broadway. And it was a genius decision to have this light newcomer break out on the screen in such a great leading role. Most folks were actually quite surprised and a little upset to have British star Cynthia Erivo play American-born Harriet Tubman. And honestly, it doesn't bother me that much. What it all comes down to at the end of the day is how the actor portrays the character. It's difficult to play a real person on screen always, on top of it being an iconic leader in American history. But when it comes to Cynthia's performance as the great Harriet Tubman, we see Harriet. We see the struggle. We see the pain, all in Cynthia's face and body language. She is on edge the whole time, but literally with her emotions on her sleeve the whole way through. Director, actor, writer extraordinaire Kasi Lemmons does a lovely job of bringing the heart to the story, without a doubt. I've been a fan of Kasi Lemmons as a director since I first saw the masterpiece Eve's Bayou, directed by her. Not to mention The Caveman's Valentine and Talk to Me. So when I found out Kasi Lemmons was directing the story, I was quite excited to see the great Tony Award-winning Leslie Odom Jr., who funny enough won the Tony for Hamilton the same night and ceremony Cynthia won for The Color Purple. See him here as William Still, the Philadelphia abolitionist who connects Harriet to the Underground Railroad. He's wonderful. Leslie Odom Jr. is just fantastic regardless, and he adds great support to Cynthia, especially with their intense scenes when the mission becomes too hard to handle. Janelle Monáe does a wonderful job, as you would expect, as the fictional character of Marie Buchanan, who houses Harriet away from enslavement. Joe ALWYN as Gideon Brodus, I mean, he does what he can, but I wasn't so affected by his performance. He tries to be three-dimensionally sound as the villainous slave owner of Harriet, but for me, I just couldn't buy it. It may have for some, which I'm glad it worked. And it is always lovely to see VONDIE Curtis Hall, Cassie Lemmon's husband, as the Reverend Green. The cast is quite good in all their respective roles. But, I say with a very sincere but, if you ask me, the one thing that keeps this film from being truly amazing, in my opinion, are the many moments in the script that feel too showy, too Hallmark, for it to be really gripping and impactful. Anyone who knows the story will see only some dramatic liberties taken for dramatic effect, but historical accuracy is quite on point here, in most parts. Like, for instance, Minty changed her name to Harriet Tubman before she even escaped and got to Philadelphia, among a couple other examples. Anyone who doesn't know the story will surely be on top of the narrative progression, but in my opinion, again, it became way too much of a telegraph of what was to come, rather than an organic one. That's what separates made-for-TV films and made-for-cinema films, where the script process is organized in a more fluid and honestly subtler way on screen, where these brilliant characters can say so much with just action in one simpler sentence. However, we love it when Harriet is on that bridge and she has that great line,
I'm gonna be free or die.
There you go. Still, the film made some money, with grossing $44 million over its humble budget of $17 million, and received 2 Academy Award nominations for Best Actress, Cynthia Erivo, naturally, when she's the best thing about this film, and she was also nominated again for Best Original Song, with the great hit Stand Up, which is a powerful tune. So my friends, I give Cassie Lemmon's Harriet a B. Yeah, the writing could have been so much better. It really could have. And I believe that's what really keeps this from making it a complete great work. Even though composer Terence Blanchard's simple yet heart-pumping score is quite brilliant, I am still so very glad this film was made. Finally. And it's a story that can always be revisited. That's the beauty of filmmaking. But nothing can resemble Cynthia Erivo's beautiful and heartfelt portrayal that she gave everything to, that you could see she was destined for an even greater future. A wicked one at that. See what I did there? But my friends, tell me, do you like Harriet? Is this one of the better biopics? Let me know in the comments. Like, share if you do really like, and make sure you have subscribed and stay tuned for many more reviews to come, as well as top 10s. Thank you all so very much for watching. Happy birthday, Mama. And also, let's give thanks to the amazing Harriet Tubman today, who has helped free more than 700 slaves and is such an inspiration. Happy Juneteenth, my friends.